Hello everyone. So, what I'm going to cover today is wafer locks and why I like them so much. I like them to pick because for me they're much easier than pin tumblers. Here's an example. They used to use them quite a bit in padlocks on older locks like these Ilkos and this Yale. And the one that really got me into wafer locks was this Series H10 American lock. A neighbor of mine, he was in the railroad. He worked for the railroad, and he got quite a few of those, and he gave me this one to play with at first. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to talk him out of it or buy it from him. So that's when I mentioned that I really like those locks and I'm going to have to look for them because I didn't think they were being made anymore at the time. And they are still being made. But Steel Penning sent me this H10 along with this Ilko. And this Ilko got me started on liking old vintage locks. So what I wanted to show you on this American H10 is that I believe both the ones that I got from my neighbor are key to like, and what's different about these is these particular locks compared to the one that I got from Steel Pennings is these locks I only have to pick one side. Now I take the American Lock logo, I switch it around to where it's facing away from me, and I put my tension wrench up here on the top. And where's my Peterson gem? I don't need you can use a regular 23 or 25 thousandths pick in here. If you use anything smaller, it seems like you lever these guys a little bit more, and you could bend like a 15 thousandths, although I used a 18 thousandths gem in here before, but I'm just trying to, sorry that's not on camera, I got my camera tilted a little bit different, but on these particular locks, let me see if it's going to demonstrate it. There, you notice I only picked one side, I only picked the bottom side, and I'm not levering off the other wafers or anything, you know, to indirectly pick the other side. And like I said, I think these are key to like. Let me get it to where people can see instead of seeing the back of my hand. Nobody cares about that. And like I said, these are key to like, so they should pick the same. Although this one is a little bit harder to open than that other one that I had there. Sorry, terrible angle for this. I keep forgetting. Get out of the way. They're all bothering each other. I use fairly strong tension, not super heavy, but I use fairly strong tension on these. And I just go down, I'm not really feeling any clicks or anything, I'm just trying to push on the levers. If you look, you can kind of tell you've got a lever lock when you see like a square driver up on top, or a square kind of like key pin. I don't know if you can see it in this guy or this guy. I had set somebody because he clicked. I was not going to try to make this. I had to pick the most difficult one, of course. Maybe this guy needs to be picked on both sides. I know that Steel Pennies one does, because I was just working one side of it and it wouldn't open, and I went and hit the other side, and it opened. So I don't know if it's the bitting on these that. There we go. That one open. Now let me do the steel pinnings one. Again, I'm turning it's just something that I do. I turn them away from me so that the American lock logo is not facing, like basically the back of the lock is looking at me. And like I said, on the steel pinnings one, I can pick this side a little bit, but I have to go over and hit one of them over here. At least it did a few minutes ago when I was doing it off camera. All you can see is the back of my pick and I'm wiggling around. Not the best camera angle. Used to be I had this thing aiming more down at the chair, but now they got this little table. I have to aim it more straight out, so you're not getting the same view. Anyways, they can be kind of a fun challenge to pick. They're a nice beefy lock, these H10s, and there we go. Hold him. If you get into vintage locks like these Ilkos, now here's a good example. Get that guy in there. I don't know if I'm gonna have to get some indirect lighting or something. Well, see him shining up there? See how that looks like a square? It doesn't even look like a key pin. It just looks like a square piece of metal. That's kind of a good indicator that you've got a wafer lock on your hands. You can still pick them the same way, you know. I mean, you can look for binders if you want, but it usually doesn't take very much to get into a wafer lock. And this guy is opened up a lot faster than this. Of course, there we go. It's just because it's on camera. But this is the one that Steel Pinning sent me that got me into these locks. I'm like, whoa, it's really great. Now this one here is that little Yale, they call it disc tumbler, but that's also basically another name for a wafer. I don't know if you can see that guy in there. He's also squared off. And that's this guy, since it's a smaller lock, this gem might be too big for this one. I think he is. So I'll go with my 15,000ths pick and try not to destroy it. It's also hard to hold these to get these guys in your hand just right. This one is a new old stock that I got off of eBay. Normally, like I said, I like to have older locks and not necessarily, go back to the gym, and not necessarily newer locks, but I really like the packaging. I like looking at the packaging when you can get it, and you see the old style of advertising, and it's just like a trip back down memory lane. Or some of you weren't even born back then, but I remember seeing a lot of these locks. At the time, I wasn't into lock picking too much. Right. Well, this one is going to give us the biggest problem. And they're usually, like I said, they're usually pretty easy. But this little guy, he's hard to get a hold of. He's hard to tension. It's hard to get a pick in there. And he's being a pain in the butt. Just to show off, which is alright. It's good that the little guy puts up a good big fight. But they really are a lot easier than I'm making it look right now because, ow, my hand is cramping. And the little Yale is putting up a heroic fight. Now, you know, these things, ow. Let me go back to my Tron, my favorite go-to pick. I don't know where I've got him hiding. Ill prepared. Ill prepared. Where is my, where did my Tron go? Oh, there we go. Hiding over here. Got lockpicks hiding everywhere. Hiding from me. They're not hiding from anything else. Right, so let me try top of the keyway tension. Maybe I need more room in here to pick this guy. I'm going to use this Mad Bob 1.2 if I can get him in there. I have opened this guy before on camera. I was just including him because he's another example of an older wafer lock, and little did I know he was going to be the toughest lock in the group. Just today and just for right now, I mean, you can tell I don't do top of the keyway tensioning too much. I'm going to have to go get that guy later on. Let me go get him right now before I lose him. Don't want to lose my Mad Bob pry bar, so I just got in. Alright, I'll try to go back to bottom of the keyway tensioning. And got my Tron pick in here, which is the guy I usually use first on most locks, just because it works so well on so many different things. Man, I don't want to leave this little Yale lock defeating me. Well, but he very well could, because I'm overheating right now. I've got a sweater on and everything else, and it's warming up in here. I feel the heat. Feel the heat of the pressure of trying to open this damn thing. Man, this is crazy. I know I've got a key for him somewhere too. He's hiding. Sorry about this. I didn't mean to drag this out. I'm being stubborn right now because this lock is being stubborn. And I don't give up easily. There we go. Finally. It's usually not that hard. Thank you, little Yale, for putting on a little show for everybody and showing how tough you are. But there you go. Like I said, wafer locks are not super hard to pick once you know what you're doing. But if you look at this little guy, he's smaller to hold. It's hard to get a tension wrench in there properly. And, yeah. I hope everyone's having a good time. I've got more old locks coming in right now. Like I said, I'm on a vintage lock binge. I've got a nest of eagles coming in, 3 more eagles, a Yale push pin padlock that I saw Bobby Keys and some other people messing with. I thought, wow, that would be cool to try to get. So I've got a Yale push pin padlock, probably from the late 1800s, coming in. So there we go. I hope everyone's having a good time. I'm sorry it took so long for me to show you something that should be relatively easy. They're usually easier for me to pick than pin tumblers. So if you're just beginning in lock picking, just look for those type of locks and give them a try. Like I said, you can't find a whole lot of them anymore because a lot of places switched over to a lot of locks basically just switched over to pin tumbler. Or if they're going to go with something that's dust resistant and stuff like that, they go with just a simple warded lock, which is very easily bypassed. There you go. I hope everyone's having a good time, like I said, and happy picking.